All right, the Houston Texans waste no time making changes after really disappointing outing with the Vikings. And if you're new to the channel, we're Detroit Lions fans, but we have this channel talking about teams and stories that get overlooked by the national media. Texans are a team we've really been on when we started this channel just because they're very similar to the Lions, same trajectory, got the coach, quarterback, really coming, got a long future or a good future ahead of them. So love talking about the Texans. Really disappointing in what happened at Minnesota because it wasn't it was a weird fluky game. It was like, man, no, offensive line. What are we doing? The pre-snap stuff with the offensive line. Laramie Tunsil's penalties. I think he's got something like 9 penalties this year in 3 games. A lot of pre-snap stuff. So that was number one. D'Amico Ryans came out today and said, absolutely, this has been addressed. Guys are locked in, and we're moving forward. And so the changes that are going to be made, we don't know exactly, but it's like, let's simplify some things. Offensive line, and this is my theory on why football is so popular, is because you can change all kinds of things, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to run the football and stop the run. And when you look at what the Texans and why they had so many problems is they weren't running the football, and the offensive line wasn't protecting overly well. And it's just like, oh, man. So the Texans, I think, are going to simplify the offense. Let's not mess around with any of the pre-snap stuff. Are we good pre-snap? And then we're going to run the ball and stop the run. Because if you look, you can see what Houston did running the ball. Cam Akers, 21 yards. Stroud, 12. British Brooks, 12. Right? So it's like, whatever. 38 yards rushing. You're just not going to win. And you go look at the other team. What's the other team have? 118. Which team won, right? It doesn't even have to come back down to the receivers. You can look at, obviously, Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell are 1, 2, 3. They put up a lot of yards. They're trying to come back, trying to make something happen. Well, where meanwhile, so 300 yards right over here, 181 yards in passing for the Vikings, and yet they're the ones scoring 34 points. So you've got to be able to run the ball and stop the run. And so changes that are going to be made are Texans need to just settle in with the run game. So let me know in the comments how you're feeling about the Texans, a team that was riding high, and it's like, all right, Super Bowl, baby, to, I don't know. I still think, again, it's a week-to-week league, so you can't get overly high or low. You look at the Broncos win. They beat a red-hot Buccaneers team. You've got the Panthers winning suddenly. So it's week to week, but I think overall, big picture, you start seeing some things that you're like, oh, that makes me a little bit nervous. And so some of the writers that were talking here, let me move this over so you can see it. But yeah, you've got guys saying right here, there's too much money, draft capital sunk into the offensive line. Scouting needs to change. All these mamby-pamby pass protectors need to grow some balls and move some people. Committing upwards of half a dozen penalties on their own is a travesty. I feel better about the season just because the division is so bad. We still have the weapons to beat most teams, but fixing this must be an off-season fix. I don't think so. I think the changes are happening right now, and if you're a Texans fan, you're going to be just fine. If you can just simplify the offense and run the ball. Then Stroud is really good. Play action. Stroud and the weapons is all good, but you got to run the ball. So you get an interception. Then you get a missed field goal. Things start spiraling on you, and you get out of your game plan, and you're not running the ball. That's a problem. So change number one is going to be to definitely run the ball. Unfortunately, I feel like the light is dimmed over NRG. Sure, it's a long season, and there's enough leaders in the locker room to bounce back, but sloppiness is a tough egg to crack. So this is the biggest change. Will we see a change where the Texans aren't committing these pre-snap penalties? If they change it week to week, or in last week to this week, then it's like, okay, that was a little thing. We got it addressed. But if that continues, then you start talking about undisciplined and what kind of coaching and the plan, and that's just a root cause of so many things. So keep an eye on that. There are simple solutions, but it's just one of those things that lingers in a ball club, especially when your veterans are flubbing things. It begins to boil over and become a character trait of a team. Texans cannot rely on grit alone to win games. They need to develop an identity and playing style that is built for the long run. Right now, they look lost offensive, and they have more questions than answers. Right, you're looking for sustainability right now. Like, I can see them repeat that. I can see them, whether it's running the ball or play action or explosive plays, that's repeatable. But when you're just making penalties and you can't, and it's 1st and 15, or you get 6 yards and then you go back and now it's 2nd and 9 when it should be 2nd and 4, really detrimental to the team. And so it's going to be interesting to see how it all goes down. I mean, again, we all know this, but not to beat a dead horse, but geez, Tunsil, come on, man. Like, come on. Houston committed 11 penalties in his first loss in 2024. Early gaffes, offense provided greatest source of frustration. Again, all the stuff. But here we go. Laramie Tunsil has 9 penalties in 2024. 4 third down false starts. Oh my gosh, right? It doesn't matter what down, but it kind of does. Third down means a lot. And you look around and it's like the good teams, you have to have the players, you have to have a quarterback. And then, man, you can't make mistakes like this. Like, it's just the margins are too thin in the National Football League. In college, it's like whatever. Texas versus Sam Houston State, it doesn't matter. But the margins, I mean, again, the Panthers, the worst team in the football, they just go out and win, right? The worst team to the best team is here. And the Texans are somewhere in here, and you cannot make these mistakes. In college, it's huge. You've got, you know what I'm saying. It's just like, come on. So you've got, there's missed field goals. So all that to say, if you're a Texans fan, you're all fine, I think, from an outsider's perspective, because it's a week-to-week league. I don't think you have to worry that, oh, what are we? That's why you watch, because it's like, what are we this week? Do we got this buttoned up? Where are we at? So if you look at their schedule, okay, you're getting a team that's just all out of sorts in the Jags. Tough game against the Bills. Easy game Patriots. Tough game Packers. Tough Colts. Jets. So, man, there's a lot. Lions come to town here later on. So there's a lot going on, but I think the Texans are going to be just fine. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're new to the channel, watch a few videos, then make sure you subscribe. If you've been watching a few videos by now, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see all of you on the next one.